All right, so there we go. The recording is now in progress. So please turn your cameras off if you want to, or blur your background. So last week we talked about, did we want this week, instead of just being a hot seat interview, to have a Q&A? We've learned such a lot in such a short space of time. And I'm really conscious that it can be a little bit like drinking from a fire hydrant. You know, you're getting all of this information just splayed at you, and at some point, you just kind of go, I am feeling overwhelmed. So I wanted to take a breath and just have us all catch up today and just ask any questions. Now, it can be on absolutely anything at all, anything that we've covered, that we've not covered, anything that's holding you back or you want to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the questions that have been submitted. There's been some on the post and some on DM. And then I've just got a great question from Drew here as well. So I'm going to answer those questions first, and then we'll open up to the floor. So jot down anything along the way that that you want to ask. So the first question comes from Michelle, and she said, I'd like to hear more about Instagram's blue check service. So you would have seen during the week that Instagram has put out a subscription service. Drew, I'm just trying to mute you. Let me just see if I can do. Yeah, I've got you. So Instagram is trialing a new subscription service with the blue tick. Now, the blue tick means that you have been verified by Instagram, and they say you are who you are. So if you have a look at a lot of celebrities actually, and a lot of the influencers on Instagram have got that blue tick. What Instagram have decided, and look, let's be clear about this, it's a subscription service, so it's a money-making exercise for them. And my personal view, I know this is being recorded and I'm potentially out of line for saying it, but they are providing a service which I think they should be doing for free anyway, right? What they are saying is that with the blue tick, you can apply for it. And I think it works out to be, it was in American dollars, which worked out roughly to be $17 Australian a month for me. And what they said is it will provide you with security, as in it makes it harder for somebody to impersonate or clone your account. They say you'll get better visibility and engagement. And it also comes with a help desk, if you like. So somebody that you can reach out to and ask all things Instagram. Now, to me, that should all be part of the terms of service. Instagram has grown so massively, so quickly, that they just can't provide those terms of service to everybody. So they are offering up the ability to subscribe. Now, they're offering it in Australia and New Zealand first. And trust me, I have been checking every day, because I won't lie, I'm actually really interested in doing it on one of my accounts just to see how it goes, because I like what they're offering and I want to trial it so I can say to you guys when it gets released in your part of the world, this has been my experience. So I have been watching it every single day. It's not been released yet. So when you go into accounts and verify your account on Instagram, it is still the same application process that it has always been. And I did a quick Google yesterday to see, has it actually been launched? And all the updates were from 4 or 5 days ago. So I'm thinking it hasn't been, unless the process for applying is still the same as it always has been, and you've got to provide social proof. Now, I would have thought that was strange, because I understood from the article that you needed to provide ID to say who you were, and that your ID, one, matched the country that it's being offered to, and two, matched your name and your photos, which in my mind is what's going to give you the verification, because they're protecting your account. You shouldn't have to provide the social proof that you are an influencer or all of these kinds of things, because that's not what the service is about. So I'm thinking that it's not been launched yet, but mark my words, as soon as it's done, you guys will hear about it. I will post about it. I'll let you know that I've applied, and let's see what it's all about. I'm just unsure which account I'm going to do it on. I'm thinking actually my art account, because it would be pretty hard for somebody to clone or knock off my organized artist account, like, you know, just with the colors and all of this, the branding that I have there. It would be pretty hard for somebody to do that. So I'm thinking my art account, and I'll keep you posted on that. So Michelle, that is what I know about that. You'll also see I Love Social Media Today, and I put a link for that in the group page. So Social Media Today is it's like a newspaper, essentially. It covers all channels, what's happening, what's new, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, it's there. And I devour that publication almost on the daily. So those of you who like social media like I do and want to keep up to date with what's going on, keep your eye on it. It's really worth bookmarking. Which actually leads me to, I was going to do this before we even started, and I didn't quite, I just got so excited to chat to some of you that haven't been on for a while. But I wanted to let you know, and some of you will have seen, so 2 days ago, so Thursday night, so what are we now? Saturday. It's Saturday my time in Australia. So Thursday night, I've been approached by a number of artists who are outside of the network that I normally play in. And I've been talking to them for a while, and we've become quite good friends. And what it opened my eyes to was, when you do a class or you learn from a teacher or you do a course, you're very much in with that group of people, either in the Facebook group or through the hashtags on Instagram. You're very much networking with those people, but you don't really know what else is out there, or what other artists are out there doing different courses. Like you're following your niche hashtags and you're following your niche audience. What it highlighted to me was, there is no place in any little corner of the internet where all artists can come together, meet each other, network in a safe environment, learn from each other, share what they're doing, share supplies, share the courses that they're doing, talk about the teachers that they like, the courses they've got value from, and just network and share across a whole range of different artists. So I wanted it to be like an artist networking group. I wanted it to be, think of artist happy hour, right? You come together, you chat, you learn, you meet each other, and then you go back and you do your thing. So I started the group Thursday night, and I woke up the next morning with 75 people in there, and now it's just over 100. And what I'm finding is happening is that people are finding it that aren't necessarily part of the groups that we all belong to, and then they're sharing it with their friends as well. So I'm really excited by that. It's a private group, so you've got to request to join, so we can make sure that we keep the riffraff out. Again, like every group, there won't be sales posts in there, but, you know, there's an opportunity to go now and put your Instagram account. There's an opportunity to go now and introduce yourself. Edie, I loved your introduction. I was just reading it before I came out, and Edie's introduction was just, I mean, I've known Edie for 2 years, and in fact, I probably didn't know any of that about her. So that's what I love.
Let me ask you a question. As I was writing it, I was trying to there were so many things I could have written in addition. Yeah. And I thought, what is really relevant? And one of the thoughts going in my mind is, because, you know, for those of you who don't know me, I'm 76 years old, and I'm finally getting into doing real art a lot. And there's a reason why I didn't, and that is because of my 3 children. I had a special needs kid, and they had told me to put him in an institution, forget I ever had him, be glad there are places like that for people like him, and go live my life. Well, I did not accept that because I just couldn't possibly. Anyway, he's 47. He's on his own. sort of. He's in a group home and there's a supervisory staff and so on.
That.
But he, I feel like now I can do this. I can pursue something I've wanted to for a long time.
Yeah. And you know,
Anyway.
Edie, I am so pleased that you wrote that, because that is what is going to connect you with other people that have been in exactly the same situation. You watch, as people come into that group, people will start commenting on your introduction, because that's what connects people, is that all that other stuff underneath that people don't know about. And you watch what happens. I was really excited you wrote your introduction, and thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing. It's just yeah, I read it before I came out here and I'm like, it was great, Edie. Thank you.
So it wasn't too much. It wasn't too much.
No.
See, one of the things we're supposed to do, I think you've even suggested it, is that we write a little bio. Well, I got all that stuff. I mean, I'm older. It's not like I'm 25. And I mean, I've lived a lot.
You've got a lot of life behind your belt, Edie. You need to sing it from the rafters, girl.
Well, I don't want to bore anybody. Go, oh yeah, move on. You know, I don't want that.
And honestly, I would have said, do you know, if I thought it was too much, I would have messaged you and said, Edie, maybe a little less War and Peace and make it a little bit more succinct. But it was spot on. It's spot on.
Thank you. I
it was very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope people read that and will do the same thing. Yeah, Drew.
May I piggyback real quickly on that?
Yes.
Because that's part of my question for you that you already have.
Yes.
Is, first of all, I must thank her for paving the way. My son is going to be 39 in May, and he lives in a group home. And I want to somehow get my art into the world, but make it known that, you know, like 50% of every purchase or whatever is going to go back to his community. So that's important to me, and I just don't know how to do it the right way.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just adding that actually, Drew, to your question, because that's your story, right?
Yeah.
And I will come back to you, because I've had, as I'm writing this down.
Oh, great. And I apologize for not muting myself before, and I'm back to the mute.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I could just hear you. So don't mind that, I do. And I will always jump in and mute. So don't mind me. Okay. Johnny also had a great question. She said, I'd like to know more about places people have used to create landing pages. I really do not want to get another email address. This was such a good question, Johnny. Thank you for asking it. Okay. And Johnny, come off mute if you want to jump in at any point as I'm asking this question. So with ConvertKit, when I started out, I had a Gmail address. So I put it in, and I realized that when you go to send your email newsletters, ConvertKit doesn't like you to have a Gmail address. So what I then realized was, when I purchased my URL some time ago, most of them come with a free email address. And I went, I'm going to use that one. But oh crap, now I'm going to have to check that email address. So what I did was I went into my mailbox and I added that email address into my mailbox, which is support@theorganizedartist.net. And I now check that email address, right? What I want to say is, if you're not going to do newsletters at this stage and you're not at that point in time, just leave it. You don't have to change it. All you are doing is collecting email addresses, right? You are safeguarding yourself if something was to happen to Instagram. And it's going to be worded on your landing page. It's going to be, you know, I will keep you up to date with my launches as they happen. Just write some compelling text that will make people sign up so that you get their email addresses. Then you've got them in your landing page. You'll see them all sitting there. But if you don't intend to do newsletters, I wouldn't worry about changing your email address at this point in time. At the time that you are going to do newsletters, then think about it, right? Then think. So you can buy a web address for like 99 cents. And in fact, I had some links at the bottom of my newsletter. You know, you can buy them for 99 cents and get a free email address with it. So that would be perfectly acceptable for ConvertKit. But unless you're going to send out newsletters and you're going to use it to communicate, don't worry about it. So that's how I navigated ConvertKit, as I signed up with my Gmail address. When under settings, you've got to put, and those guys, Miriam, I think you've done it. When you go to put in the email address that you're going to send them from in settings, you can't use your Gmail address there. It's got to be I can't remember their words for it, Miriam. Do you remember? It's something like it's got to be a verified email address or a recognized email address. I can't remember what it said under the settings. But Johnny, are you intending to send out newsletters? No. Great. So just do your landing page, get that up and running, and then just collect the newsletters. And when you come, the girls, both Miriam and Chris, have put some great insights on building their ConvertKit landing pages. There's also some screenshots there as well of what the tabs in behind the landing page should look like, so that they send out the confirmation email so people can confirm their subscription. Your goal is to get people to subscribe. That is it. Full stop. All right. So yeah, so when it comes time and you decide I want to do a newsletter, so just bear in mind that you won't be able to at this point in time. All right. Do you have a web address? Do you have a website address? No. All right. So at some point in time, if you decide you want to go down that track or you want to do your newsletter, then put a note in the group or reach out to me and I'll remind you that that's what you need to do on the back end of ConvertKit.
Okay.
All right.
Allison, can
Yeah.
you, what is your feeling about a blog versus a newsletter?
I like a blog. I'll be honest with you. I like a blog. Blogs kind of went, they were really popular about 15, 20 years ago, and they're coming back again now. And the reason that they're coming back again now is because they're a lot more sophisticated than they were. So when you think about a blog, people can add video, they can add links, they can add all sorts of stuff to them now and make them really cool. I like a blog. ConvertKit does a great blog and all templated that you literally fill in the templates. It's great if you want to monetize your blog. And when I say that, I'm thinking about if you've got books that you're recommending and you want to add
what? If you have what you're recommending? Books. Oh,
yeah.
I think I hear a dog and it's
so think about books and Amazon affiliate marketing. So you can get your affiliate links from Amazon and recommend books. So you can monetize a blog really nicely.
I attempted to get a website, and the person that I hired, she would never return my calls. And anyway, it was a mess. So I finally paid her off and said, I'll do it. And then as it turns out, the thing came up for renewal and they didn't consider me to be the administrator. So long story short, I don't have that website. I mean, it's just gone. However, I do have the email that went with that, but it's a Gmail account. It's edicreative@gmail.com. So and that was supposed to be the name of the website.
Did you have edicreative.com?
Yeah, I was that's what I was trying to get, but it never happened because she never converted the administration to me. And when I went back in for it,
how long ago was that, Edie?
I beg your pardon?
How long ago was that?
It was a couple of years ago, actually.
I
and when
emailing her and saying, I need to renew this, please can you sign that .com back to me so I can renew this?
Well, I had I had commented to her. She had actually told me that she was surprised she was getting the expiration notice, and did I want to continue with it or not? So I said, yes, I do. Do whatever you have to do to make me responsible. She never did it, and so now it's expired. And when I go into that edcreative.com.
edcreative.com. I'm going to do a bit of investigating myself, Edie. I've written that down here. I'm going to have a look, because if you can get that back, what does it say, Johnny?
It says website expired. The account has expired. If you are the site owner, click below to log in.
Yeah, so I've tried to do that, and I don't have the login information.
But what I'm wondering is edcreative.com, is that URL now for sale?
Right, exactly.
So that's what I'm going to go and have a look at and see if it is now for sale. And I will message you, Edie. Let's take this offline and let's see if we can get that back to you. Otherwise, let's contact her and just say she needs to go in and sign it back to you so you can renew that. Edie Creative is who you are. You need that web address back. All right.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I could maybe use a different instead, maybe Edith. I don't know. Or...
No, you're Edie. Let's not do that. Because then, of course, you can set up your email address that goes with that account, and you're sorted.
Yeah. Well, the email address is there, and I'm using it with you. I'm trying to be very selective and use it only when I'm doing something that's creative. That's art related.
I feel very honored, Edie. I'm going to take this offline with you, and let's get this sorted. All right. And it should be an easy fix, to be honest with you. Okay. Good. Chris had a great question, actually, and Chris's is kind of around the same. And to be honest, I've been writing all your questions out until Chris messaged me, and I went, I'll just read them from the post. This is Chris. So I have my landing page on ConvertKit done. Now what? Can I add pages to it to show display art? I'm offering early access to my next collection. Do I simply just send an email to my subscribers to say they can buy a piece during the early access time? I don't have any special way to do that other than say, hey, subscribers, if you want, you can buy it before the collection is officially posted on Instagram. Okay, there's quite a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to start at the beginning. So let's be clear, a landing page is a landing page. It is not a full website, all right? But what a landing page can do is facilitate links for you. So in answer to Chris, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I still think Chris is selling on Etsy. I know she has sold a collection direct through Instagram, but I'm just going to say, let's say Etsy for the purpose of this question. And Instagram is easier because it's just the post that she's posting on Instagram. So with the landing page, she can put, and I don't think Chris is on. Chris, wave at me if you are on. No, I don't think she's here. So what she can do is the page that she has chosen, and think about this when you are going in and doing your landing pages. If you choose a page that allows you to have links on it, you can change those links and change one to say, click here for my online store, and you can add the URL to your Etsy store, and it's a button that you can click from your landing page that will take them directly to your Etsy store. So what she needs to say in the blurb of her landing page is a little bit about her, where her art is for sale, and then she's got the links, please refer to the links on my landing page, which will take you to my online store. She might have whatever else she's got, a Facebook group or whatever else she's got there, put those links in. One of them should always be sign up for my newsletter, right? One of those links should always be sign up for the newsletter. Now, when she says, do I just simply send an email saying, hey, subscribe do I simply send an email to my subscribers to say they can buy a piece during the early access time? Right. So that is where you can then email the people that have subscribed and send them an email. Talk to them, right? Say, there are some great email templates in ConvertKit that you can use. You can add pictures, you can add links, you can add video. How cool would it, and Christy, I always think of you when I'm playing around with these things. How cool would it to be, let me share my latest piece of work with you. Here is a behind the scenes, and you've got a video going on of you creating the piece, you're telling the story about it, you're showcasing the piece, and then you've got a link to purchase that piece. I think to showcase those one pieces, and Christy, I call you out because of your gallery pieces, right? Those beautiful big pieces that you've got in the gallery, you could get your subscriber list humming, and then they know that that's where you're going to, like, you're educating them that is where you're going to be talking about your pieces of art. But for Chris, it's the same. Like, it's just educating people where to go to buy her art. So it needs to go in the text when she's showcasing her piece on Instagram and it's for sale. The post needs to be clear about the size, the price, what it's made of, how to purchase. So many people forget about how to purchase. And whether it be all the details are in my profile. Remember, don't use link in bio. So all the pieces are in my profile. I like the little up pointy finger up, so people know to go back to your profile. They'll click on your link, go to the landing page, and there they can see the link directly to your Etsy store. So those of you that have used Linktree, it's kind of the same, but it allows you to personalize that experience. So it allows you to put some photos, some pictures of your art, and some text on it as well. So think of it as a way of directing traffic. All right. It's not a full-blown website. You still have to direct the traffic. The difference between a landing page and a website is, so go back to landing page for a minute. The landing page, you're directing traffic to where you want it to go. You're also sharing personally a little bit about you, your art, and where to buy. The website is the full-blown storefront. It's got the links. It's got a link to your online store. Or you can have some of those pages turned off, and it could just be your shop link. And if you look at some of those down the bottom, you might see as, powered by Shopify or powered by Square or one of those down the bottom. But even with a full-blown website, you don't have to have all the about me and the contact me and the services, and you can actually just only have your shop front up. If that's what you want to do and you want to invest in a website, you can do the full-blown, or you can just have your shop up. Christy.
Yes, it's interesting. I just put together a Linktree because I thought I'll do it before the newsletter, because I felt like, and I think I wrote this to you, everything was just so kind of disparate. It was just like I couldn't even, it was really kind of log jamming how I was going to do anything. So this was good because it pulled together like my Etsy and then my website page. And my website page right now, I'm limping because it's Squarespace. It's not letting me shift from just a regular kind of website into a commerce. So maybe that might be an offline question I have for you.
Yeah.
So when I have to get all the information from the website guy. But the other thing is, do you think that with like a Linktree and a newsletter, it's kind of like you're directing traffic to each other? So wherever that person lands, because you're going to be
directing traffic. And do you know, I often do this myself. Get a whiteboard or a piece of paper and jot down your buyer's journey, right? So when they hit my Instagram post and I'm telling them to go, the next step down is I'm telling them to go to my landing page, Linktree, I'm telling them to go there, then what happens to them?
Right.
Sometimes and I do that a lot. So even when I was looking at doing this group, I'm like, what does this journey look like for the artists who come in here? Like, what is the purpose? What is the journey? And so you want to make sure that, I guess, the biggest tip that you want to make sure about is that what you're telling them to do in your post, when they go to click on the link that's in your bio, they can easily see where you've told them to go, right? You're directing traffic, and you need to make it as easy and as less clicks as possible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The thing about Linktree, the thing about Linktree, and it's interesting because I use Linktree on the Organized Artist, but I've personalized it and I took down my landing page. Now, why did I do that? I'm not sure it was a smart move on my part, and I probably need to change it back now I'm having this conversation out loud. But the thing about Linktree is it is simply links. It gives you no opportunity to share the journey, a little bit about you. And once, mind you, the landing page is the same. It gives them, it serves them up a lot of links, and they choose one and they go and do their thing, right? With a landing page, and you can do, so if they were to sign up for your newsletter, you can personalize that response and say in that newsletter, don't forget to go and check out my latest collection available in my online store. Here's the link, or here's the button to go. So you can direct the traffic a number of ways at a number of different times.
And Allie, I have a question for you. And this
Again,
might be really
it's going to be a whiteboard situation, right? Get your piece of paper out and go, how do I get that person to engage with me the most? And that's what I don't like about Linktree. You usually get one bite of the cherry. So they'll go and they'll subscribe to your newsletter, or they'll go and they'll join your group, and they're not likely to go back and take a second action. Yeah.
Now, here's two questions for you. I'll say them both just because I won't forget them. But the first one is the landing page. Is that a separate or a part of the newsletter?
It's separate.
Okay.
It's two separate. So the landing page is a separate service provided by, so I'm talking ConvertKit because that's what we talked about. That's what I use. So the landing page is separate. It allows you to collect email addresses and to direct traffic again and customize that. Thank you for signing up to my email. While you're here, think about, in Maya's case, taking my online watercolor course and adding the link in there. Like, if you've got other links or other ways to communicate or offer up in that thank you email for subscribing, is the perfect place to do that. Like, if you've got so just speaking out loud here, if you've got a Facebook group where you've got your loyal buyers and your collectors and you're talking to them daily, and you want to add people to that group, stay up to date with behind the scenes and what I'm working on and my launches, click here to join my VIP members group. And you could do that and add that there. So that thank you is a great place to add something else, to upsell them, to get them to take another action.
So how do they get to the landing page? Is it emailed to them?
It's a link. So the landing page has a link that you publish, and you can publish that link onto your Instagram account.
Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. And Miriam was it Miriam that personalized her link? Thumbs up, Miriam. Yes. Miriam's put a great feedback on the page, so she's personalized her link. You can actually go and bolt your domain name onto ConvertKit 2. Miriam, I think you're about to go down that track next. Thumbs up. Yes, good luck. Please let me know how you go. I have tried twice, and because I am time poor and I'm like, you've got to go into the web server and change your A and your DNS, and you've got to wait for them to talk to each other. And because I'm time poor, I didn't wait, and I'm like, out of here. I will do it at some point, but I'm watching your experience, so please share it with us.
Okay.
So two different, Christy, landing pages, you're directing traffic, all right? Newsletter sign up is something you can bolt on to your landing page, and it can be your newsletter sign up. It collects your email addresses. Then in ConvertKit, if you want to send newsletters, there's great templates there as well. And the same, all the templates are together under, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's called landing pages and forms, and you click and then it says use a template, and you can go in there and there's newsletter templates, there's landing page templates. Edie, there's some fantastic blog templates. There's all sorts of templates there. Yeah, there's events.
This is on
ConvertKit. ConvertKit.com. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
.com. Okay.
Yeah. ConvertKit.com is the web for it. Yes.
And piggybacking on to Edie's question about blog versus new, because I'm jumping off, I forgot my other question, but I'll remember. Would it be possible if she wanted to do a blog and a newsletter, or is that kind of redundant?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So on ConvertKit, and Edie, if you want to do this, reach out to me. So on ConvertKit, you could have a tab that says read my latest blog post here, and you've got subscribe to my newsletter here, right? So the blog post will sit there and you can direct traffic to it straight from the landing page, all right? And then the newsletter is you've got to take action to actually write that newsletter and send it out, whereas the blog is just there. But what you could do is you could send out your newsletter to say, hey, have you caught up with my latest blog? Here's the link. Simple as that. It doesn't have to be War and Peace.
Is that too many pieces for somebody, they don't have time, do one or the other. I don't need to go to a blog. You can't tell me on a newsletter, then I'm out of here.
No, but do you know what? Your newsletter has got a link to take them to the blog. So for me, I love that because it's like, oh, cool. Edie's got a blog post up. I can click on there. There it is. I've read it. I can comment. I'm out of there, right? As opposed to, I wouldn't necessarily know that you've got a blog post up.
Okay.
So you're just telling them it's there. Use your newsletter doesn't so your newsletter is a way of communicating. It doesn't have to be War and Peace about what some of the best ones are. Don't forget my membership is closing in 24 hours. Join now, right? 2 seconds. I'm conscious when I write my newsletters and they get really long and I'm like, it's like, people are going to open it and go, I haven't got time to read this now, and they close it. Because that's what I do, right? I open it and go, too many words. My eyeballs can't manage this. I can't deal with this now. I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Do I come back to it?
No.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Probably not.
That's right. Probably not. So think about how you behave when you see newsletters, because everybody else is going to do the same, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes less is a whole heap more.
Yeah.
And make it simple for people.
I know.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid kind of thing. KISS, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just kiss them, and honestly, as I sit there, because I send out my newsletter on a Thursday night here. It's Thursday morning for you guys. And I chip away at it all week. And trust me, sometimes I have an awful lot to say. And I'm like,
my husband's calling. I got to get off here.
Okay, Edie, watch the catch up later. Okay. So moving on, Kim asked a great question also. And she said, hi, Ellie, I have a question that I thought you might have more perspective on. This might be a good one to ask in the group at some point. how do you know if that is your art for sale DMs legit? The creepy dudes I can tell, but I find that 100% assume people are not for real. Am I throwing out, totally ignoring opportunities to sell my work? She said, but sorry, I think I skipped that, but I find that I 100% assume people are not for real. To be honest with you, I do that too. Like if some random person who is, one, not following me, two, is, now I'm really looking forward to your perspective here, Alex, because I know you and I have a different perspective on this. So please, I'd love to hear from you after this. So I'm a stalker, right? I go in, I check them out, I have a look and see what's on their page. Why have they reached out to me? Why have they messaged me? Yes, they might want to buy my art, and I can engage in conversation with them as long as I'm not giving them any personal information, because I don't trust. So unless it's somebody I know, like if it's somebody you know who's engaging in your posts and you have a relationship with them, you can tell those people, right? But the people just straight out of the blue, I'm like, However, in saying that, I had that very thing happen to me where a lady found me actually through Christy, and she bought 3 pieces of art from one collection, and she's bought 3 pieces of art from my latest collection. I had no relationship with her. She was not following me. I know, Alex, I'm looking at you.
That's been my last year.
Suspicious, right? I treaded carefully. But I could see, no, I couldn't see. Her page is private, so I wasn't sure. Her page was private, so I didn't have a relationship with her. So how can you tell? A lot of the time it's gut instinct, and you just have to engage in conversation with them. I guess the biggest thing is just don't give out personal information, right? Don't give out, I'm sure none of you would give out bank account details or anything like that. So just tread carefully, but engage in conversation and find out, unless it's really obvious, right? If it's a surgeon in the deal. If he shows up in uniform or he's a doctor and you can see that on his page and he's got, 9 posts and he's following 20,000 people, but he's got, 2 followers, then, delete. But tread carefully. I still assume until I have a conversation and figure it out. Christy, before I come to you, I'm jumping to Alex because I love having this conversation with Alex.
Well, I've been on Instagram for 4 years, maybe 5 years, but last year, due to some posts that went pseudo viral, all of a sudden overnight, I ended up having 5,000 more followers. And all of a sudden I had people message me constantly because I had a website, but it wasn't stocked. And I agree with Ali 100% about, any kind of guys opening up a DM with, "Hi, gorgeous, blah, blah, blah. I want to buy your NFTs." I mean, that's one thing. But I sold about 65 pieces last year, and I sell as I go. I make it and then I put it up for sale and then someone buys it. So I don't do collections or anything at this point. So of the 65 I sold last year, only 5 were through my website, and those were things that I still had sitting there that I even forgot I had, that I had to look for first after they sold. The rest was all through Instagram DMs. And the first half of the year I sold directly via DM. Someone would text me, and then usually how it works, because people have private accounts. Like, for example, this lady here, she texted me, "Thank you for making the beautiful, touching art you make. Sometimes seeing your work changes my mood. Where do you sell it? Do you make prints? Are you in any galleries in New York? That's where I live. Thank you again." So I don't know if I was even able to see her avatar photo. Probably not when I didn't follow her. So I said, "Hi, Megan. Thank you so much for your kind words. I sell my work on my website and directly in DMs." And so how I did it the whole year is, if people then write back, "Oh, that's cool. So how much does it go for?" Then I would say, "Yeah, this is the price.
Yeah.
And then if they want to sell it, I would bill them via PayPal. And what I found is that most people, even though I tell them you can send me your info on my business email, they usually send it right in DMs. They're like, here's my
Yeah.
name, info, just send me the bill.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, it even to the point where one lady, I sent the work, her credit card didn't work, but we've been texting back and forth. And I'm like, you know what? I just trust in the good in people because I make them, they have to let me follow them. Like if you want to buy my art via DM, you have to let me follow you. So now I follow all these collectors on their private accounts. And that one lady, something with my PayPal didn't work. And so she's like, I'm gonna have to get a new card. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna send you the art. Once you receive it, send me a check. And I'm like, worst case scenario, I lost one collage. So what? Whoop-de-doo. Best case scenario, she gets it and is gonna forever tell every one of her friends, oh my God, that's the artwork I bought from this artist in California who sent it to me when I had a credit card not work and billed me later. And I'm like, well, I'm German. We always do everything on like pay later with, you know, Rechnung, right, Miriam?
Yeah.
And so I'm not super hesitant at all if someone reaches out. What I don't like is if artists reach out, and I've had to block someone today because she had a big account and like 3 days in a row now, I'm getting an email. I'm running for an ambassadorship. Can you please vote for me? And I remember from Ali that, you know, these are one of the scam things. So the first time I just deleted the DM, but it happened again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to block you. And that's an account with 5,000 followers and like an art account. But I'm like, no, you know, no. And so,
and especially if they've not engaged you in that conversation, like, hey, Alex, I'm going to do this. Is there a chance I could get you to endorse me if I send you the details? You agree to it, they send you the details. But just to send it like that is actually...
And that account followed me, but
I'm like, turn the heat up.
I don't think we've talked. I'm like, no. But other people, I mean, I have followers, everyone who, like, I sold 8 pieces this year, and that's from people that engaged with me in DMs. And I can look back last April. It's last April that we had the first contact where they were like, ooh, I would like to buy something. And I'm like, well, if you're fast enough, you know, I post stuff every week. And so I have this kind of like, you know, there's like this lady in Hawaii now that every time she's in the Bay Area, she sends me photos from her trip and like, oh, I'm in the area. It's nice. I like Instagram.
And I
DMs
think the key to that, Alex, is engagement, right? Is that you are engaging with them. It's not some random request out of the blue that you're not sure about. But then you take the time to engage and figure out whether it's real.
And then, you know, it's not like I give them my, like, I wouldn't do it all. And that's all scams. And if you ever get anything like it, it is a scam. If people tell you, ooh, I want you to make a commission, but I can't pay by credit card because, you know, I don't want my partner to see it, or it's for my child and I'm taking it from their educational account. It's all scams. Don't do it. NFTs, all scams.
Absolutely.
But if it's like a random person and they're like, here's my info, can you please send me an invoice? I'm like, I send you an invoice. And then because that got too complicated, trying to make sure that I don't mess up copying the info from the DM to my PayPal, what I do is if someone wants to buy something, I put it on my website in the private checkout section that has a password. So that way I know once
and then
I
you give them the password and then they can go check it out. Yeah, great.
And that's what I do for people that see something, and because I don't feel like posting, like I will, but I just don't have that much in stock. So right now my regular website just has photos from my Instagram and it says, you know, shop my feed, but I have a passcoded shopping area. And so, you know, someone can text me and I answer DMs at all times of the day. Like if I'm going to the restroom at 3 a.m. and someone DMs me like last week, I'm like, surely I'm writing back. I'm like, yeah, you want to buy something? Yes, I can arrange. And then I say, but don't worry, no one else is going to buy it, because unless you bought before and then you wouldn't randomly just go and check, no one can access that shopping cart. So they can have time. And if there's a problem, they can DM me and say, oh, I'm trying to check out, but it's not working. So
Yeah.
that's been handy, and that's with Squarespace.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting to know. And actually, so Christy, I see you. Give me 1 second. I just want to ask. So Drew asked a question of me, and she said, "How to get your art out into the world?" And I see that Drew. Also, she just commented before, Edie, about 50% of the profits go to her son's assisted living. Look, how to get your art out into the world is, it's something that we all face. It's something that we all have that challenge with. We are all, I assume, on Instagram, and I know that Drew is. And it literally is playing that Instagram game. It's all about showing up, engaging, making sure your audience is nice and clean so that your posts are being seen by those that engage with you. Drew, my Instagram guide, I don't know if you have it, but go and have a look at that. Has got some really good tips about your artist bio and all the things to do to get your Instagram account in tip-top shape, how to write art posts and all of those things. Also, my Instagram account has got, the Organized Artist Instagram account has got a great, almost templated art sales post. And I'm actually, why don't I copy and paste it into the group, so that you can almost use it as what I call a swipe file. You can literally copy and paste it into your notes, and then you can update it so it suits your art, and change so that it makes it fit, change the size. So art sales post, let me just make a note, swipe file, and I'll just copy and paste the words in there. Feel free, obviously, to change it so it matches what you say, but it has worked well for me. It has worked well for Anita. Drew, have a look at what Anita Goff did also. I'm sure she won't mind me sharing. She does some great art, and some of her art proceeds go to an animal charity, particularly around pigs, and she had a wonderful collection where she donated some of the proceeds from her sales to that charity. And I worked with her. We spent a couple of hours together just getting her Instagram account shipshape, her artist statement. We went through all of her followers. We went through everything, nuts to soup, on her Instagram account. And then she started posting, and she sold that collection in 2 days. I think there was 22 pieces, something like that. But she sold out that collection. So we know that that formula works. Christy, you have your hand up. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
The question was, Alex, you might even be able to answer this, is that I have had messages like that, where it's, it seems legit. They've got like 10,000. It's a woman. There's, things kind of check out, and I'm like, huh. And then I get to that page and it's all this NFT stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll notice they'll send
too.
you a message and it's sitting in your private message. Always, if you see somebody new, that's because, of course, when somebody new follows me, I go check them out and see who they are. Why are they following me, right? So you go check it out. You see NFT in their profile, and I'm like, I bet you have got a private message from them. I go into my messages. Sure enough, I do. I just delete the message. And to be honest,
the other fun things, they're like an angel investor. Like I have these like, but I'm different than you. I don't delete all those followers because I really don't I don't care. Like at this point, I don't care. I feel like my engagement is enough. But if they DM me, then I go and I will delete them from my followers if they start sending weird messages. Because sometimes even the weirdo accounts do engage. Like there's sometimes I get engagement from accounts where I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. So it takes me too much time to go through. But yeah, the guys, like the doctors, the surgeons, those all go. The surgeons or the guy with the child on the lap, it's like me and my son, and it's like 3 posts, and you opened your account last week.
And you notice everywhere he goes, he's in his scrubs with a kid in a great sports car. It's like, really? Don't you own any clothes? Like, honestly, mate.
And they have, well, you've got the army guys, and then you've got, what's interesting is I always look at the date on all the photos, even if they've got like 30. The dates are usually like yesterday, all of them, and there's no commentary or anything. It's all blank. and then
Yeah.
they fill it in with flowers, steak, and whatever, you know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
It is actually
And-
quite funny. I must admit, I do quite like doing that. It gives me a good laugh and go, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are bots, right? So you'll notice that Instagram, sometimes your following will go up and down. It will go a bit all over the place. Instagram runs a program every once in a while and it gets rid of them all. So if you have a lot of them in your accounts, that you'll notice your numbers go down. And that's the reason why is they will actually have removed those accounts, which means that your following will have gone down.
But I've only had that happen once.
I've had it happen a few times.
Really?
If I've missed one, because I watch my following, right? So I'm all over the analytics every week. Every Monday, in my journal I write where I'm at, because you know I'm just that kind of type A personality.
you know, Ellie, I had one more just.
Yes, of course,
and
Christy.
I'm sure you're going to do this and forgive me for, you know, monopolizing, but
No.
it just occurred to me. Remember, sometimes we'll talk about artists that have done so well, like just
Yes.
like, how did they do that? And they're not in the group. Do you think you'll have people like that, you know,
Yes.
will come in and
actually
interview?
that is the purpose of the hot seat interview, is that, but I am really conscious that we have had a lot of learning and there's a lot going on to this point. But yes, that is actually the purpose of the hot seat interview, is to have a look. And if any of you see somebody, so actually Vicky and I were talking about exactly this yesterday. One of actually, and I think she's in the Insiders. I must go and have a look. Fantastic art, not a huge following. And when you look at her socials, it's all just really beautiful. So it's like, did she know to do that at the outset? Do you know what I mean? It would be really interesting to have a chat with her and to see how that all works for her.
Who was that you said? I didn't hear.
I didn't say her name because I'm actually not 100% sure of her name, but I can find it. Hang on, if you want to give me a second.
Now I want to know.
I think there's, you know, I think we've talked about the young woman, and I can't think of her name. Art on Her Heart. Didn't we talk
yes.
about her?
Yes.
And she does, like, when she puts out work, it sells. And she doesn't necessarily do a collection. She just has this kind of, you know, easy paced thing where she creates, and the work is beautiful, colorful, you know, and she just, I'll see, you know, it'll pop up in our notifications of new post, and a lot of times she's selling it. You know, I haven't looked at the record lately, and I don't know if I can tell, but I think she does well. So it'd be very interesting, you know, to
can't find this artist.
Oh, no biggie.
I can't
feel
it's the
selling on
spelling
the
of the name I'm not getting right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Art on Her Heart. Is that Elizabeth?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
isn't she like a UPS driver
Yes,
too?
as UPS
so
driver
interesting.
mom.
Yes.
I love her.
UPS
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah, I know. Well, the dancing one is the
But
other
her
one.
art looks so cohesive. And so I think if she sells as she goes, that's perfect, because I feel like sometimes, you know, as much as I want to do the collection, and hopefully maybe I'm going to do one this year, but selling as I go is nice, because then the followers that I have in my collectors group that are waiting, they don't have to wait. Like they see it, and then if someone wants it, they can buy it. They don't have to make a note in the calendar, oh, she's going to sell that in 3 months. And for me, posting the art I sell is basically my advertising, because if I don't post that, what else am I going to post?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. It's a shop window, right? It invites people in to take a closer look.
Yeah, and so
Art on Her Heart doesn't have a website or anything. It's literally commissions welcome, DM to inquire about my work.
Yeah, so basically she posts to get the following. And then if someone wants it, they can DM her, and then I guess she's going to sell it to them, and probably sends an invoice using Venmo or PayPal.
It's interesting because I like to serve up the information. So if somebody was to email her, one, they don't know the size, they've got therefore no idea about the price. So do you know what I mean? It
I don't,
almost
yeah,
is-
but I don't do that either. I do it sometimes, but I don't want to do it too much because I don't want Instagram to think that I'm just posting to sell. So for me, sometimes I just post it because I feel like the people who follow me by now know that, you know, I usually sell this size, that this is 8x8.
yeah, Yeah.
And then I don't, and then usually people will often DM me and say, "Oh, I love your heart collages. How big are they and how much are they?" And then I tell them, I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
that's how much they
Alex-
are. And then
And I
sometimes they're
think
like,
that it's fairly standard like yours are, Alex. I think that that's fine. But when I look at Elizabeth's, they are really quite different. And I wouldn't take the time, I'll be honest, I would not take the time to message her. I just
Mhm.
wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, if you don't want to be upfront about it, I actually feel awkward about asking how much the price is, because I then don't
Mhm.
want to say, oh, sorry, it's a little bit out of my price range.
but you could just DM her and say, "Oh, is this and this for sale?" And then I would suppose she would write back, "Yes, it's this size and this is how much it is."
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't have to ask how much is it. You could just be like, "Is this available? Do you currently sell this?" I mean, that's often
Yeah.
the request I get. They don't ask specifically how much is it. They say, "Yesterday's post, has it already sold?" And then
Yeah.
I'm like, "No,
I
it's
guess-
available."
it makes me feel twitchy. And I'll be honest, it makes me feel twitchy because human psychology and the psychology of buyers,
Mhm.
they want to know stuff up front, and they don't want to be made to feel,
Right.
I don't know, like I think as much as you can serve them up front, the better it is for your buying post. I know, Alex, that you've got a completely different audience and you've got an engaged following and you've got people that collect your pieces. But honestly, I wouldn't do that. I would give them, and you'll see, I'll put that swipe file. So copy and paste it, take what you want. But the format is there and you can see, I just lay it all out for everybody. Then what I get is the comment sold. And thanks, Ali, I'd like to buy this piece. Here's my email for the PayPal invoice. And so I don't, yes, we engage in conversations sometimes, but they know the deal. They know the size. They know that because I'm in Australia, it's a weird paper size. It's A4, but it's matted to a US standard frame size, 11x14. So it will fit any store-bought, you know what? Because I have to explain that.
So when you say, like with your last launch, when you just say comment sold, like they DM you whatever, but
And that's what it
don't you
says.
need like their address, their name, like to
No, I
send
just
the
need,
bill?
no, I just need their PayPal address for their PayPal. So I send them the invoice. When they pay it, when I comment with them, I just say, when I send you the invoice, please just double check that the address on your PayPal is where I'm sending the art to. Can you confirm this? Right? I have this conversation with them.
Ah, okay. Then maybe I
Because
did too
if
much
some
work all
people
last
haven't
year.
gone in and updated their PayPal account and it's an old address, then that's where I would send the art to. So, or some people would say, can you not send it to my PayPal address? Send it to here instead.
So you don't set up an invoice where you send them the invoice where it has the size, the name of the work, instructions.
Oh, that's all on the invoice when I send it. Yeah, it's got the name of the collection, it's got the piece, it's got the price, it's got the catalog number. Yep, it's all on the invoice.
But then you
The
have it
beauty-
automated already. If you just need their email address, or how do you do it? Like, I'm intrigued now because
What
I
do you
feel
mean?
like then I did a
How do
whole
I-
lot of work.
So then they sit in my PayPal, right? So often
Yeah.
I've got repeat buyers. So they will then just sit in my PayPal and I will say, is your PayPal address still the same? I've got you here. I'll just send you the invoice. And so they've like, say they've bought Edith and they've got, you know, Edith's catalog number, you know, C20230213. And I'll go, you know, Edith, here's the catalog number. Just confirm that your PayPal address is still the same as the last time. I'm going to send you an invoice. They pay it. I get notification. Send the piece out. I don't send the piece out until the money
I
hits.
feel like for my invoicing, I have to put in their data if they're new. Maybe I did it wrong last year, but anyway, at this point now I do it via my website because it's easier. Then they
all
have
my
a choice
invoices are
between
standard,
PayPal and
like
Stripe.
all that changes is the name and the catalog number.
Cool.
Trust me, I'm lazy, so I try and make
Oh,
it
yeah,
as
I
easy as
wanna be
possible,
lazy.
right?
Oh, that's why I don't
Unlike
have
me.
collections because I'm lazy.
It's just, you know, if I can get it in and out, thanks very much. Michelle, you
Mhm.
have a question.
Probably, I was thinking that Alex didn't understand that you can just invoice by the email. You didn't need the people's addresses.
No.
I didn't
No,
know
I
if
guess
that's
I didn't
what.
understand that.
Yes, yes.
that
So,
what?
so it's a PayPal invoice.
No, I knew it. I was just thinking that I thought you guys were miscommunicating, that she
Oh.
didn't understand that all you need is the PayPal address, because when you bill that PayPal email, their junk comes up. All their address and
Yeah,
everything
but
comes
I
up.
feel like when I log into my business PayPal, and I have a business PayPal, and I
Yeah,
and I click
do
on
too.
create
Invoice?
invoice,
Yeah.
that there
You-
was more data I had to put in than just their
But
email.
you can just do it by the email, which is, I know,
Oh, see.
weird. I know it's weird, but when they get it on their end, somehow it all appears. It's just
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
the autofill, because it knows that you're allowed to invoice them.
Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong,
No,
but I was
it's
just
exactly
thinking
that
right.
makes
that
sense.
you were just
Yeah.
missing that one thing, because I
Yeah.
could hear what Ali was saying, and then you can have your automated invoice that
Yes.
you'd already created the
Yeah.
words. I think
Hmm.
now I'm beyond my skill, but
No,
I
Well,
mean,
at
I
this
know it's
point
there.
now, I
Yeah.
switched the whole process
Yeah.
over to my website
I-
anyway,
I would-
because then it gives me Stripe instead of
Yeah.
PayPal also, which is a little bit
Yeah.
cheaper. I feel.
Stripe or
Like-
PayPal?
I feel Stripe is cheaper.
I think that's the case too, to be honest. So,
Like the other day, PayPal takes like $5-6 each time I bill. I'm like, whoa.
yeah, and the 3 pieces that I sold together, I paid $21 in PayPal fees.
Yeah. Like I have a big commission coming up, and I almost feel like, because I'm on good terms with that lady, I'm almost feel like I want to ask her if she can send a check.
Yeah, or even a
Because I
bank
feel like it's
transfer.
gonna be like
Can she do a
$50
bank
Yeah,
each
get a
piece.
cashier's check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, ladies, I'm conscious of time here too. Michelle, did you have another question?
No, I didn't know how to turn it off. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I am conscious, and I've actually made a start, but I've not had a chance to finish. So last week I promised I've called it a checklist, but I want to explain. It's kind of you're starting out on this journey. Where should you start? And where does, like, you know, tidying up your Instagram, art sales, where does the landing page come in? At what point do you need to do this? At what point do you need to do that? So my trusty whiteboard's been getting a workout this week. So I've been mapping that journey also, so that I can map it out into boxes for you with checklists underneath each box. So I'm trying not to make it War and Peace, because I don't want it to be intimidating, but I kind of want it to be that document that you can go, okay, so this is where I'm up to. I need to do this, 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 and this, and then I can move on to that. And then I need to do this, 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 and this. So I am working on it. I'm trying not to make it War and Peace. And it will be here soon-ish. It might take me a little while, because it's a bigger, well, no, put it this way. I want it to be concise, and I want it to be all of the steps. So I'm just having to backtrack a little bit, but that's okay. All right, I am going to stop
be
the
cool.
recording.